And who says there's no justice in this life? This is a historic day, a truly historic day. And in the last over 2 years now of Israel's genocide against the Palestinian people, there have been so many who have fought very courageously and who have been arrested, deplatformed, lives ruined, people deported in the United States. Today, Palestine Action, according to the High Court of this country, their prescription as a terrorist organization on the same legal footing as ISIS and all the rest has been ruled to be unlawful, a catastrophic defeat for the government, whose law has dragged thousands of people through the justice system being arrested, others, of course, who have been dragged through the courts. There's no better person to speak to than the co-founder of Palestine Action, Huda Amouri. Firstly, where to begin? What's your general response to this historic judgment, which will be discussed for decades to come?
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible to be at this point. It's a complete victory for the movement, for Palestine, for the Palestinians. Going through this genocide, to say that taking effective action in solidarity with them does not make you a terrorist. In fact, it is the opposite of that. It is necessary to take action in solidarity with the Palestinian people. And I just couldn't be more grateful for everyone who stood and continues to stand by us throughout this time, from before prescription to the point we're at now, for all those people who risked their liberty to oppose this prescription, to the legal team. They've been brilliant. I mean, there's just so many. This isn't my victory, this is our victory. And I truly believe that this wasn't necessarily just won in the courts. It was won on the streets. It was won by the people. That's how we won. And I think it's incredible. And I'm just, you have to sometimes revel in the moments that you get. And I'm just really appreciative that everyone can appreciate this win for all of us.
It was a historic collective, of course, victory, but your contribution will always be remembered. Your courageous leadership and the way you have spoken out and fought in very difficult circumstances. Yvette Cooper is the former Home Secretary who took the decision to prescribe Palestine Action. What do you have to say about the case that she presented in order to justify this prescription?
Yvette Cooper, I believe I said this before when I went on your podcast, soon after the prescription. She lied through her teeth, and now we have the proof of it. She claimed there was secret intel, that there was disturbing plans, that there was links to Iranian funding and all sorts of other nonsense to try and manufacture consent for this prescription and to justify the ban going through. Jonathan Hall, the Independent Review of Terrorism Legislation, recently admitted that those were, in fact, lies. But she lied to the British public in order to push through an unjust and unlawful ban, which led to the arrest of thousands of people simply for holding signs. How is she still in government at this moment in time? There has to be accountability, not just for her, Shabana Mahmood, for Keir Starmer, for every single politician who was responsible for this attack on all of our rights and for this attack on the Palestinian people to protect the Israeli weapons industry during a genocide. That is unforgivable.
In terms of what I thought was quite striking, we'll come on to what juries have actually decided. But when people commit property damage in support of a political cause, in this case, to stop one's government being complicit, facilitating a genocide, the crime of crimes, you expect you will be arrested. You expect you will be taken through the justice system. And the point about this ruling is it said the normal kind of criminal law exists. The use of the legal term terrorism applied to people, terrorism is a completely politicized term anyway, but when it's applied like this, that is just a massive jump into authoritarianism, which a even worse government than this one can just take to the most extreme logical conclusion.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's exactly what has happened here. Palestine Action was about saving lives. It was about destroying the Israeli weapons. And they claim that the damage to weapons used to commit a genocide, used to drop bombs on the Palestinian people, is terrorism. Stopping those weapons is terrorism. And it's just an insane concept. And And I think, and I know that the British people and people across the world see right through what is happening. They weaponize the Terrorism Act, as they have been doing for many, many years, in order to crush dissent, in order to attack the British public in service of a foreign genocidal regime. And, we just saw last week the first case of the Filton 24, not a single conviction, not one conviction. And they were acquitted on nearly half of the charges, including the most serious charge against them. The state knew that we were winning court cases in front of juries and that people were continuing to take direct action. So in the Filton 24 case, they overcharged clearly in order to justify holding them on remand before they got to trial, to punish them before they even had their day in court. And here we are after the trial, not a single conviction. So I think it's testament to show the dedication of these people, of the current prisoners as well, and that actually, the state has gone overboard and it has backfired massively. I believe that the rest of the Filton 24 should be freed soon, and all of the prisoners. And I have heard news that today they've been celebrating inside their cells. So that's really nice to hear.
That's very heartwarming to hear. Shabana Mahmood, the current Home Secretary, she says, in terms of the appeal, noting the unlawful behaviour, as she puts it, of Palestine Action activists, her own colleague, Wes Streeting, the Health Secretary, opportunistically released his messages with Peter Mandelson, in which he said Israel is committing war crimes before our very eyes last May. I mean, look, the sky is blue. It's obvious that what he said in private is true. They don't say it in public, because that then imposes legal obligations on the government. It is unlawful to provide crucial components for F-35 jets to a state committing war crimes. This is the point, isn't it? That juries, this is why they keep acquitting people, which is people have to make a decision when they're looking at unlawful behaviour. One unlawful behaviour, breaking equipment linked to of an Israeli arms manufacturer during the genocide. The other, providing components for F-35 jets to murder people in a genocide, and that's what's happened, hasn't it?
Well, exactly. I mean, even in cases where the court has said you can't rely on any defences, any legal defences, when juries hear the information about why people are taking action and what they have destroyed, it's very clear that juries do not want to convict people. And they are refusing to convict on moral grounds, because it's innate in every single person that human life is worth more than the weapons used to kill them. I mean, that is a basic concept, and the fact that this society is trying to trick us into believing otherwise is disturbing and disgusting. But actually, when it comes down and boils down to the facts of why people are taking action, people see through it. More times than not, jurors do acquit or do not convict on these charges of criminal damage, no matter how hard the state is trying to persecute these people in order to protect the Israeli weapons industry. It's not working. It has backfired.
In terms of those who've held placards, and it includes people, of course, who follow and listen to this channel, who've been arrested for holding placards like saying, I oppose genocide, I support Palestine Action. What do we think? Because those cases, they've been, I think about 500 have been charged out of those several thousands. What now do we think could happen? I mean, it depends on the appeal, but is the hope that they will just, hopefully, if the appeal goes the right way, they will just be absolved? Yeah,
I mean, as it stands, the High Court proposed for the prescription to be quashed and ruled that it was unlawful, which means that every subsequent arrest that happened was also unlawful. There is a little bit of a legal limbo situation at the moment, but we know that I think outside the High Court today, people holding signs again, they were not arrested. So the police are in a situation where Palestine Action is supposedly prescribed, even though it's unlawful, and it's creating chaos, and it's going to create more chaos in the courts. And Shabana Mahmood has picked up the mantle from Yvette Cooper, and I think it will be to her own political detriment, to be honest. I think it's a stupid move from her, just politically, not even thinking about the moral grounds of this. But there will be chaos in the courts now. How can they continue these prosecutions when it's been proven unlawful? So, I think the day will come soon when all of those charges will be quashed, and they can make claims for wrongful arrest, unlawful arrest. I mean, they're continuing to waste the taxpayers' money in order to persecute the British public for an unlawful law. It's quite an insane situation currently.
And just a couple of final things. I mean, one, in terms of what the state has done here, it's deeply stressful and actually horrific for Palestine Action activists who've been locked up for so long. But that action has actually helped the cause, hasn't it? It's been completely counterproductive on their own terms. If their hope was, let's crush this movement and let's terrify people into submission, it has had the exact opposite effect.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, if I had a choice in this, I would still have chosen for Palestine Action to never be prescribed. But the situation has created so much outrage and solidarity amongst the movement from different groups of people. It's been incredible to see the pushback against this. And that in itself has moved us along so far in the movement and strengthened us and strengthened the solidarity with the Palestinian people. And no doubt we are stronger than ever before, despite this prescription, being enforced since July. It has backfired, and I think they knew that from day one when they saw the public's reaction. But they were insistent on continuing it. They wanted to protect Elbit Systems, the Israeli weapons industry. That's what they did. It's going to backfire, and it's going to lead, hopefully, to everyone being held accountable who was responsible for this decision.
And the other thing I just want to ask, Donald Trump, his role potentially, because Donald Trump's Turnberry golf estate was targeted by Palestine Action activists last year. He wasn't very happy about it and denounced publicly, it's quite important, said at the time that they were terrorists and expressed his hope they be harshly treated. I understand that there were 2 phone conversations between Trump and the Prime Minister for now, Keir Starmer, discussing Palestine Action. So do you think there are searching questions there about, the involvement of potentially of the US president?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've only touched the surface about what's really going on. And, we didn't get disclosure on everything, including the Trump call and the Trump situation. But, it's really obvious, and it's quite sickening and ridiculous that Donald Trump's prized possession, his golf course, the most expensive golf course in Britain, gets vandalized, and he's on the phone to Keir Starmer calling us terrorists. I mean, I think we annoyed the right people a lot of times. And so I think that's how we ended up in the situation that, we were in. It was just, we rubbed the wrong people the wrong way. And I think, to be honest, that is a good thing. It's testament to all of the actions carried out by Palestine Action and the continued solidarity.
And just very finally, the genocide continues. Palestinians are being massacred still, hundreds in the so-called ceasefire, Orwellian term to describe that, ongoing violence, but they're living in intolerable conditions with the prospect still of the survivors being violently removed from their land, always hanging over. What do you say to people who still, right now, out wherever they happen to be, who think they want to do something? What do you say to them?
I think every single moment is a time to take action. It's a time to act. And, even though Palestine Action is currently in limbo, direct action as a tactic cannot be stopped. It cannot be prescribed. The companies and the weapons factories which are enabling this genocide are operational on our doorsteps. And that gives us the opportunity to shut them down, to stop them directly. And that global solidarity has never been more important.
Amen to that. Honestly, you should be so proud of what you've done. And of course, I know it's a collective struggle. Everyone involved, your legal team, the activists, right up to, of course, octogenarian, retired ex-vicars, to young people all over the country who will be vindicated by history and, fingers crossed, soon will be vindicated entirely legally as well. Everyone, do share the video, get the message out, leave your thoughts, your comments. But honestly, everyone is so proud of you, and massive kudos, solidarity.
Thank you so much.